Hey everyone, Nubkeks here and welcome back to Here's the Storm. Today we're playing some Stitches and we're going to be playing Slam build Stitches, of course. It's my personal favourite Stitches build. I do want to do a video though soon as well on maybe a hook build Stitches. Kind of one of the big differences really being that at level 16 you're going to take a fishing hook instead of pulverize. So pulverize is really strong, it reduces the cooldown of your slam by a couple of seconds and adds a slow to it. So that's a massive deal. Obviously the cooldown reduction synergizes with every other slam talent you've ever taken, and the slow is very strong. So that's such a strong talent, it does define the build. But you can swap that out for fishing hook or shish kebab or something like that, a hook talent at 16, which are also very strong, and that will change your priorities on talents earlier. But anyway, that will be the subject of another video. For this one, we're going for slams. We're going for slams. So hooked Arthas at the start. Maybe not the best idea. I mean, we get some damage out, but there's the risk that our team trades some bad damage in return. But looks like we're going to be okay. That's a better second hook this time around. Poor old Hanzo is silenced. There's nothing he could do there to get the hook in on him. And our teammates have a really good follow-up and get the kill. Then another really good move there by our team. Our Alarak plays this pretty well. So he gets some nice kills in. I've really been noticing lots of Alarak recently, I have to say. I've been noticing a lot of Alaraks recently. I think the thing about Alarak is that, I mean, we're still learning, I guess, the heroes that are doing better in the new meta. Because the meta has switched a lot, thanks to the laning changes in particular. What I think happened with Alarak is that, well, simply the games are able to snowball faster, and structures are relatively weaker. So structures are easier to kill. Alarak's terrible at killing structures, but they're weaker now, so it's not as important a weakness. And then games can snowball quite hard through the new laning. I think the average game time has gone down almost 2 minutes across the board, something insane like that. So Alarak obviously is a very, very snowbally hero. He gets more sadism as he, hits stuff and kills stuff. So yeah, that can be insanely strong. So I've seen a lot of him recently. I think Stitches is also very good in this meta too. What does Stitches do? What are his strengths? Excuse me, I've got a bit of a cough this morning as I'm recording this. He has a few strengths, right? You've got great wave clear. Well, with the slam build, let's talk about slam build Stitches. With slam build Stitches, you've got great wave clear, really good wave clear. You do actually lots of, basically because you do lots of damage, lots of AoE damage in particular. So what this lets you do is, well, you bring great wave clear to your team, it gives you good map control, and then you also output a lot of damage in the team fights. On top of this, perhaps the most obvious strength of Stitches is, of course, the hook. The hook, the dreaded hook, which can get you kills, it can secure kills, and just kills that you would normally not get. And that can totally turn games around, which is particularly effective in Hero League. A good hook can, it can just get you a massive advantage. It can secure you an objective. In the late game, it can just simply win you the game. A hook is a very, very powerful tool to have. He's also like he's a big bag of meat, right? He's got a lot of HP. His big weakness is that he's actually fairly squishy despite that, though. In terms of you have no escape, really. You've got no mobility. You're basically just walking everywhere. You can get a little bit of a mobility boost from Putrid Bile Heroic, which I do take in this game, but you're not always going to take that. So yeah, you are very vulnerable to being dived or being killed. But it's a pretty good trade-off to make because you've got so many specific strengths going for you as well. We just missed Hanzo there, that's unfortunate. He probably would have been able to jump over the wall, but might have been able to get a decent follow-up afterwards despite that. You can see in this particular game, there's been quite a lot of roaming, there's been quite a lot of kills, people are kind of going everywhere. I'm just focused on controlling the waves in mid here and in top, just rotating between those and yeah, making sure that we've got that XP going. And as you can see, we are a good bit ahead in terms of XP, so that's quite important. We've been laning against Greymane a fair amount, we've been laning against the Hanzo. And those things are relatively easy to do here. I mean, those heroes could be punishing me more because they're ranged, but they're not, so hey, happy days. So yeah, in terms of the talent build that we've gone for, level 1 we're going to take heavy slams to make slam do more damage. Level 4 then we're going to take, what is it called? I forget what it's called. I forget the names. The one that makes your slam infect enemies hit. with your gas, your vile gas, your trait. So it just puts a bit of a dot on them. Just adds up to extra damage, and then crucially level 7 we're gonna buff our trait. We're gonna increase the damage and the area of our trait by like 50% or something like that. So it makes your trait much more viable, much more powerful. I mean, as you can see, when we slam a minion wave, it basically, I mean, a single slam almost does half a minion wave's HP in terms of damage. You can follow it up with a second slam, a few basic attacks, and you know, we've cleared out a minion wave. So you do a lot of AoE damage. That's pretty good wave clear, and certainly for a warrior, it's extremely good wave clear. And like I said, that translates into big damage during the team fight as well. Now it's a bit awkward. It's a good hook on Hanzo. We don't have much damage to follow up though. It's a bit awkward because our map position as these web weavers are coming in isn't fantastic. That being said, we have an Asmodan pushing bottom. I do believe this is an E-build Asmodan actually. I do believe it is. We've got quite a weird, like, all magic damage comp, which you've not seen too much of recently, but seems pretty good. Gonna hook the Arthas as he's running away, which should be just enough to secure the kill. He's not able to escape from that one. And yeah, I mean, Asmodan is just pushing like crazy down bottom. I would have been quite curious to see that lane as it was being played out. I noticed he killed the Sonya at the start, and then she killed him back. So I'm not entirely sure what's going on there. I think it's, you know, again, Sonya is amazing at solo laning. She can be a bit of a pain against any ranged hero. I think for Asmodan you have to interrupt his, well, certainly if he's gone E-build, you have to interrupt it with her Q. But, oh well. Yeah, we've got a nice lead here. We just hit level 10 as well, so this is going to be an opportunity for us to perhaps push something of an advantage. I'm trying to think about which heroic to choose, which is a big choice of stitches, because they're both very good, right? You've got Putrid Bile, and you've got Gorge. So there's a couple of large uses to each of them, and they're somewhat map specific. So Putrid Bile, the one I've chosen here, you run a bit faster and you leave this this Putrid Bile behind you as you go, which again does a fair whack of AoE damage to people that stand on it, and it also slows them down. So what I'm going to use this for in this particular game is we're going to pop this to get in a great position. We're going to try body block the enemy heroes. We're going to try slow them down with the Bile and just keep them in the Jaina damage, keep them in the Asmodan damage, help Alarak land his combos, and basically looking to set up my teammates as much as possible with the Putrid Bile. I also want to lay down the Bile, which will make it more difficult for Arthas, who's a walkie hero, right? He's not got any jumps or anything either. Makes it difficult for him to run through the team fight and to try get on top of my team. Makes it a bit more difficult for Greymane to jump in to wolf form. And, you know, we'll do some damage to Sonya as well. That's the reason I went for Putrid Bile here. I think it's a pretty good choice here. Gorge is good as well. Don't get me wrong, Gorge is quite strong. Gorge is very strong, I'd say, on a map like Towers of Doom, where you're always going to have forts to gorge someone too. Gorge is useful for removing a dangerous hero from the team fight. Can be good for that. For example, you might gorge a Genji or something when he's dragon blading. Typically, it's going to be used for picks even more so, which is you hook and then you gorge. That's how most people tend to use it anyway, and that's quite good as well. This is interesting here, because I'm not sure where our teammates went. They're just in bottom lane. Oh, I think they were fighting like a merc camp or something. It's very strange. This is like the ideal time to dive the enemy team down bottom. They had a couple of dead heroes, so it's a 3v4 for us down bottom, as in we had before. So that's a big advantage. We could push in and then have a web weaver pushing their keep walls, but our teammates backed off, and I don't know. I guess Asmodan was low on mana, but I don't know about that. I'm gonna grab a Mega Smash at 13. That was definitely a big missed opportunity there to actually make some plays. Oh well, we're gonna make it now. It's like, haha, Arthas has respawned. Now is the time to dive them. Excellent. Yeah, so that's not ideal, and they're getting some very powerful chain CC. That being said, the Alarak is extremely fed at this point. As you can see, he just blew them up with the counter strike. We're gonna come down here. We're gonna kill the Hanzo. Alarak's gonna kill steal because he's a bad person. So yeah, ends up being a 3-for-1. But yeah, I mean, we should have forced that fight about 30 seconds earlier. And if we'd done that, we would have, you know, probably killed 3 again without losing 1 ourselves with the Web Weaver. But oh well, say la vie. I think one of the big problems with Gorge on this map, I mean, it's not a massive problem, but it is a problem, is that the forts typically die pretty fast. It's killing keeps that's hard. It's killing keeps that's hard, but the forts are usually dead fairly quickly. Which means that you don't have a fort to gorge someone to. So you're more gorging them out into the open, and it's a small map, so usually teams are fairly condensed and they can follow up. I mean, it doesn't mean it's bad. but it might not be as good as again. I'd say Towers of Doom would be like the ideal one for Gorge. Gorge can be also amazing with like a Medivh, right? Gorge someone go through Medivh portal, the kidnap combo as it were. Right here we actually are going to engage through into this. We just have so much burst damage. Alarak is so fed at this stage. I hooked, you can see, I hooked the Arthas. I'm like, oh, actually, not sure if I want to hook the Arthas and fight them in this little narrow corridor with, you know, the Greymane splash damage, a Sonya leap, a Hanzo arrow. I don't know if we want to take this fight, but then again, we have tons of AoE damage as well. Great engage by our assassins. And yeah, we get ourselves a couple of kills. Looking for the hook there. This is like a little hook spot that you can use onto the Greymane. Unfortunately, he walks just the other way. I mean, that's just like a luck either way as to whether that hits or not. If it does hit, though, that could be a kill, so well worth doing. People don't expect that one. I think it's kind of interesting, too, learning about Stitches. I think he's a hero that is worth playing quite a lot because you can learn all those ideal hook locations. It's such a fun ability to start to master, I think. I'm not very good at it, but I think it is very fun to learn how to use the hook. Oh yeah, like we've got this little nook over here. If I hook right here, I'm gonna get the kill. Or, you know, things like standing to the side of walls and then hooking kind of down past the walls can really catch people by surprise as well. In this case, our teammate again, we're like, we need to turn in right now. I don't know why we need to turn in right now. We don't have enough gems, so I'm just gonna go kill the wall, which will help me land some hooks instead. And the enemy team, they've walked very far forward, so we're just gonna run in on top of them. And you can see, like, this game is absolutely falling apart. At this stage, Sonya's leaping out of the fight. Me as the Stitches, I'm just running in on top of the enemy team. We don't even care anymore. Alarak is like 50% hitting people with his Q at this stage. They're just being overrun. They're just being destroyed. We're on the corner, and this is going to be game. So I thought it was an interesting game, and just in terms of, well, I don't play Stitches all that much, so it was kind of a nice Stitches game. But also I think it's interesting to talk about a little bit, at least. No, beautiful hook to end it. Beautiful hook to end it. Talk about the snowballing, right, that is happening this season. I suppose one of the big questions is what to do about this snowballing nature of the game at the moment. I think it's quite difficult. I think what we probably have to do, or Blizzard should probably consider doing, is like upping the damage and the HP of the forts a little bit, and the keeps. Probably the best thing they could do. Yeah, I mean, you can just they have little knobs they could tweak, you know, in terms of maybe lower the minion damage slightly, or I don't know. Like even a small change can have rippling effects. Blizzard will have a much better idea, but I would personally say that yeah, we probably do want to change stuff. You can see in terms of our damage, quite solid, just a bit below Jaina, so that's pretty nice. Stitches does good damage. He does good damage. So there you guys go. I hope you enjoyed the game. Let me know what you think of the snowball meta at the moment. And any ideas that you have in terms of what could be or should be changed. And yeah, I'll see you guys all next time for some more Heroes of Storm. Thanks for watching. Bye bye.